podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows. Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
All right, good morning, everybody, on this wonderful sunny Saturday. Welcome to Valhalla Hour, where we talk about the Vikings and the NFC North. The show airs at noon on every Saturday, and the last time the show was on, the Vikings were 5-0, looking pretty good, and now we are 5-2 with a loss, a very tough 2-point loss to the Detroit Lions, and then just an absolute fiasco on Thursday night, getting beat by the Rams 30-20, and losing star left tackle Christian Darrisaw for the season. Where do we even start, guys? Let's start with you, Darren. Take this thing away. There's a lot of shit that went on.
First and foremost, it didn't help that our defense looked like we're out there just playing two-hand touch with people. I mean, that was the start of it, you know. Puka Nakul got to go off on us, had over 100 yards. Kareem Williams over 100 yards. Both very good, solid weapons. Granted, Byron Murphy did have a pick. Defensive penalties hurt us. Letting the Rams get down the field and just drive down our throats, it really killed us during the third and fourth quarter. Offensively, in that third and fourth quarter, I mean, right when it was 20-21, O'Connell should have, you know, stepped up the game planning. Like, he should have been more aggressive. And there's no reason why, you know, going third and out. Mm-hmm. Like, all around, offensively, defensively, coaching, just what wasn't there on a short week. So if nothing changes with our offensive tackle, because we did lose Christian Darrisaw, so if we still have Quisenberry in there, it's going to be a rough Sunday night, but hopefully they figure out somebody they can throw in there. Hopefully Walter Rouse. Otherwise, maybe they move Brandel. But bad loss.
Yeah.
Matthew, either of you, what hurts worse, the taking 2 L's in a row on a short week, or losing Darrisaw for the year?
You good?
Okay.
losing Darisaw for at minimum 1 year. That really hurt because for those of you who do not know or follow the Vikings, he tore not only his ACL but his MCL. The last time we had any type of significant injury like that was Dante Culpepper, who got the trifecta: AC, MC, and PCLs all
Yep.
at once, and his career was never the same. And Darisaw has been an absolute beast for us. His dad, world class. Rob, you would know. Darren. Hope.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've met Papa Darisaw.
No, we were trying to get him on the podcast tonight. I know Jamez was talking to him. Jamez talks to him, but I haven't gotten to meet him yet.
He's usually at every tailgate. He comes down and says hi, and we take pictures, and as a dad, I can see where he's concerned and everything else, and he probably would if they're not super busy, because Papa J is the kind of guy that would come on the podcast. I guess I never thought to see once, about trying to get him on this one, but hopefully you can.
Right.
He'd be the one to do it. So,
and it's just I don't care about the loss. We can correct that. Losing Darisaw was a bigger L over the week than anything else.
Right on. Matthew?
Yeah, no, totally agree. Losing Darisaw for the next 12 months minimum absolutely sucks. I'm not super worried about his career as a whole. Like, we see this all the time now. ACL repairs are way better than they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago. So I think he'll come back and be fine. But that is 12 months. So I don't know if we can't really trade for one because no one's giving up a starting offensive lineman, especially in the middle of the season. So that's just not going to happen. Questenberry did play for Darisaw a handful last year when Darisaw had a couple tweak injuries. He's okay. He's not terrible. But it's not somebody you want for the rest of the season. It's definitely a downer. The loss sucks. You don't want to lose 2 in a row, but like Matt said, that's something you can correct going into next week. It was a 3.5 game break after playing a Super Bowl contending team. You expect there to be a letdown. They got cut back. They got Nakua back. We weren't expecting Nakua to be back. Byron Murphy is a terrible corner this year, so it was just too much. Darnold's not the type that succeeds when he doesn't have a lot of protection. So when that left side goes, it could potentially be a much longer season. So I don't think we're going to make any moves at the trade deadline anymore. I think that's behind us.
Yeah, I agree on that too. I don't think we need to be buyers at this point. I want to, and Caesar, go ahead with what your thoughts are on this whole thing, quick, and then I want to start floating some possible fix scenarios on this. But go ahead, Caesar.
Losing Darisaw obviously is pretty bad. Hopefully he recovers really well and gets to come back for next season. I want to see Walter Rouse in there for us now over Questenberry. Because Questenberry, he's all right, but I don't know, he's not really that good. But yeah, I want to see Walter Rouse. He's a rookie from Oklahoma. Happy that we drafted him in the first place, and he'll get us. Hopefully, he gets to start. I don't know about next Sunday night, but we'll see. And then probably get Reisner back as a guard, bench Ingram, and keep Blake Brandale on the left guard. He's good. He's been good all season. And as far as other trades go, if we were to make one, probably defensive tackle and/or another cornerback, but we'll see. And as far as the 2 losses, the Lions were a tough game. Of course, they were going to give us a tough game of all game. And the Rams, well, they had Cup back and Nakua back, so it was going to be tough to guard both of those guys. And tough loss there. I'm still pissed about the missed face mask, but it's got to move on and hopefully get a win against the Colts on next Sunday night. So we'll see.
Yeah. And Joseph says in the comments, truth is Goff and Stafford are both damn good. I agree. I mean, Goff
Yeah.
is leading the best team in the NFL right now. I am going to say NFL, not NFC. I mean, NFC is a given with the Detroit Lions. I think if a championship was to be played tomorrow versus the Lions and the Chiefs, I think the Lions are winning that one probably 95 times out of 100. They look damn good. And let's not forget, Matthew Stafford has always been a beast at quarterback. He just never had like the defense to help keep pace with the team, or there was always something going on. And his very first year in LA, he did win a Super Bowl. So yeah, these aren't scrubs that it's not like we went out and we got tuned up by Trevor Lawrence or I mean, these and the Rams just got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who just drilled us square in the rear end. I mean, Puka just had his way all day with us, and that's what happens. We tried to put extra pressure 36 times in that game. We got there 3 out of the 36 times, according to the stats. That's freaking pathetic. I don't care if something isn't working. And I mean, they just look like like Darren said, they're sleepwalking. They're playing 2-hand touch. It's like the snap, they'd stand up, put out their hands. Offensive linemen check his text messages, holding our pass rushers back with one hand. Hey, Mom, look at me. Selfie time. I mean, they look maybe it's because they only had like a 3-day turn, or went from a Sunday night contest to Thursday night, very, very short turnaround. They look like they're just sleepwalking out there. I mean, I'm not going to criticize effort, but I also think as much praise as we've given
it looked like
all year. Go ahead.
It definitely looked like Dancing with the Stars with Adrian Peterson out there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As much praise as we've given Flores and KOC really all year long on this show, the criticism is there. That team was not ready to play. That team was absolutely not ready to play. And so Darian's a Packers fan. He chimes in. He says, should we expect the Vikings to make any moves before the trade deadline? If so, what would anyone want them to do? Well, losing Darisaw changes things. Here's my thing, and I want to wrap this up into a couple different things, because this will be a nice long topic of discussion here. I agree with trying to put Walter Rouse that we drafted in at left tackle. If he's as good or better than Quessenberry, what are you losing? Anybody good that's better than that is probably not going to be able to be had without trading away too much. You can get a mid-tier tackle out there somewhere, I'm sure, that's available or whatever. But if you want somebody good, you're going to have to give up a lot in a trade. I agree. I think the big problem is still Reisner at right guard, and I think not Reisner, Ed Ingram. You want to put Reisner in there at right guard. Let's see what Walter Rouse can do at left tackle. Leave Blake Brandel in at left guard. Bradbury has been ass all year. In fact, Bradbury has been ass ever since he was drafted. That's a whole other fucking thing. But if we could get a better one of those sometime in the future, that would be nice, a center. But in terms of trading, I think the Vikings should be out on buying, unless, and it's strictly a move that is looking toward the future next year when you got JP McCarthy and everything. If there's a way you can still grab Dexter Lawrence, and maybe the Giants aren't sellers, and you're going to have to give up so much, and all the fans are going to bitch that we gave up way too much. But if you could get a guy like that, that would make a huge impact immediately, and then also pay dividends next year.
Yeah, him or Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, and I know there's a certain corner living down there in Florida that you were interested in, Darren. You want to talk that piece?
JC Horn. Forgot his fucking name now.
JC Horn.
Yeah, yes, J.C. Horn with Carolina. I mean,
Or Carolina, I'm sorry, not Florida.
If we can get a guy like that, an upgrade from Byron Murphy, who in my opinion's been a disaster this year, and if we could get a guy like J.C. Horn, I'm all for it.
Yeah, me too.
If we don't have to give up too much for a corner like Horn.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
There is one solution I can see to this issue for a veteran minimum, and he's sitting in free agency, DJ Humphries.
Is that better than what we have right now, though?
Walter Rouse, I'm very scared because if he misses a few blocks or causes Darnold to go down with an injury, and he's not available, we're going to be looking like a bunch of fools with our thumbs stuck up our ass.
Well, to be honest, what we'll look like is a team that passes for 400 yards every game with Big Dick Nick. It's just that we'll have 4 or 5 interceptions.
We're going to sign Nick.
Welcome, Mr.
Nick Mullins or
Mr. Lindahl.
who's the other quarterback? Brett Ripien?
Brett the Ripper Ripien and Big Dick Nick time, I guess. I don't know. I am kind of worried. I will say this, though. Darnold is a hell of a lot quicker, nimbler, and able to escape shit. You know what? What really made a difference? Instead of throwing that ball there in the fourth quarter right through, and Jalen Naylor's got to make that fucking catch. But
Yeah,
he could have ran for 15 yards and picked up the first.
Mhm.
I mean, Darnold is starting to try to overthink things. Yeah, the first 5 games of the year, I guarantee you, when he's seen that, he just would have ran, and at least he knows how to slide feet first. That's the first quarterback we've had since, I'm going to say, Brad Johnson, that knows how to do that. So, I mean, we're learning slowly here, but if he would have just, there's a lot of things that just could have went better that just didn't. I mean, the team was mentally unprepared. It looked like they were tired, like they, were physically unprepared. They're mentally unprepared. I know, Lindahl, what's your thoughts on thanks for joining us and everything. So we're just recapping. Basically, we kind of already talked about the 2 losses. I mean, Detroit, I got no qualms about that. I'm not even really going to talk about it, but this shit stinker performance on Thursday night, coaching, player effort. I'm not going to even, the referees missing that face mask was dumb as shit. I mean, I got pictures of the guy looking right at it too. I mean, one of the camera angles. That's minor compared to everything else that went on for the previous 58 minutes in that game. What's your thoughts, Lindahl?
The Rams did seem to get a few calls that extended drives that shouldn't have been extended to begin with. And I don't think that face mask, I mean, although they'd let that slide as well, it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Like you alluded to, that Darnold seemed a little bit indecisive, and he kind of held the ball kind of long in that end zone. Like, you shouldn't be in the end zone that long anyway to give that defender a chance to begin with. But it happened, and it was a very blatant penalty. I mean, even if you're not looking directly and don't see his hand on the face mask, when you see a man's head whip around, you know what happened. I mean, they threw a
Right.
flag for that earlier in the game on us for the same kind of angle. So you can see it. You know what you're looking at. You know what you're looking at. But yeah, in the Detroit loss, I said it beforehand, the week before, that it's going to come down to who has the last possession, and it did. I mean, it was a very good, hard-fought division game. I mean, cap tip to them for taking a division lead at this point.
Right. So
And Naylor too. I'd like to go back to what you said about Darnold. He had more than enough room. He could have ran for the first when he threw it to Naylor right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens when you start getting into the middle of the season, and you start overthinking things. Like the first several games, he didn't overthink. He just made the plays. Was it perfect? No. I mean, he hasn't thrown for 300 yards yet, nothing like that. But it was efficient. It got the job done. I noticed on Instagram that Jordan Addison is starting to become a little bit of a malcontent. Whatever he means by free 3. If you're going to bitch because you're not getting the ball as much as you want, maybe get open. Because, I mean, the plays where yes, he's probably been open. Every receiver thinks they're always open. He's been hit when he's open and everything, but there's a lot of times where he thinks he should have the ball or whatever, like any receiver. He's actually not all that open. What do you guys think about that situation, especially with the fact that next Sunday TJ Hawkinson is coming back, who is he's the number 2 on the team, whether anybody likes it or not. I mean, Jordan Addison had a very nice year last year. Half of the season he was filling in when Justin Jefferson was out. Therefore, he got a lion's share of the targets along with Hawkinson. These guys are going to have to learn that you have quite a few mouths to feed on this offense, between Aaron Jones being just as good of a pass catcher as he is a running back, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison. There's 5 guys right there. And you notice how Trent Sherfield caught a touchdown, his first NFL touchdown.
Yep.
I mean, Darnold isn't trying to force feed any one person to boost their ego. I mean, he's throwing to whoever. He's got his progressions he's going through, and if you're open, you're getting the ball. If you're not open, you're probably not getting the pass from him. So what do you guys think about this Jordan Addison bid?
I think
Maybe he's just pissed.
It looks like we all have a take on it. Yeah.
Get the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we are obviously overfeeding JJ. I guess I don't know if I would call it overfeeding, because when you're paying him $35 million a year, he's got to get the ball. But there are times where JJ's like double or triple bracket in the end zone, and Addison only has maybe single coverage or is open. He's just not getting the ball. He's only getting like 3 to 5 targets a game, so I get the frustration. But at the same time, up until last week, we were 5-0, so stop bitching about it. And you've also caused a lot of headaches through DUIs and your speeding, and the team's had your back the entire time. So maybe don't lose your shit when you're not getting targeted for 3 games. I actually brought up to my coworker yesterday, do we use him as trade bait to get someone like Dexter Lawrence when we have Hawkinson coming back? Because if anybody knows the Vikings, we draft receivers in bunches. We could bring Tristan Jackson off the practice squad. He looked really good in the preseason. I don't think Addison has the leverage he thinks he does. He still has that rookie contract. He showed out last year. He is a talented receiver. But if he keeps this up, I could see us going the Diggs route and getting a decent haul for him, or getting a good player and using him to get that player, and us not skipping a beat, to be honest, because we're only throwing it to him 3 to 5 times a game. So
yeah,
I like that.
I like that idea.
So here's some advice for Jordan Addison. Spend some more time watching film. Spend some time, extra time, with your playbook. Bring that bitch to bed and fall asleep with it.
I'll say, when he came back off of whatever, malingering thing it was at the beginning, it was
his ankle.
Yeah, and had a great 2 touchdown performance, 1 catching, 1 rushing off a jet sweep in Green Bay and everything. It's like, yeah, here we go and everything. And then he didn't do shit in the Lions game, really.
Yep.
If you think about it.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
He had the 1 beautiful long catch in the Rams game,
right,
and everything. But, I will also say that players tend to bitch an awful lot less when you're winning versus losing. And 2 in a row really sucks. But at the end of the day, this Minnesota Vikings team is 5-2 heading into a stretch of easier games than what we've had so far. And to be honest, most everybody thought we'd be like 1-5, 1-6 at this point in time.
Right.
2-5, 1-6. It's not like the season is freaking over and we're tanking or anything. I mean, this team is still very much in a position to make the playoffs if they can go back to playing like they did the first. I'm just going to say 6 games, because they didn't play bad during the Lions game. That was a damn good team.
Right.
Everything after that Lion game.
They got an extra 3 days now before the next contest against the Colts. Let's see if they can data dump a stinker of a game and get back on track here against the Colts. And if they can get a win and start and put together a nice little set of wins here and everything, win the next 3 or whatever, pretty soon, you're sitting here at 8-2. You're looking pretty decent.
Right.
You can go 50, you can go 500 or less, the rest of the way if you win these next 3 games and probably still make the playoffs. In all honesty, especially
True.
the way the NFC East, South, and West look. So
Yeah.
the biggest problem is we went from like first to tied with worst in our own division in 1 week because NFC North is so competitive and everybody's above 500, which is crazy. What do you guys think about the whole business? I do believe the Lions I don't think they're going to lose very many games this year, guys. Maybe 2 or 3 most. Do you think the Packers are going to come and keep doing what they're doing and be that number 2 team, or do you think we can get back up into that number 2 slot?
I think we could get back up at the number 1 still. I could see us still going on a run, and last game of the season in Detroit's home, we could win this. So I'm not
Yeah.
even thinking about number 2. I still want number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want number 1 too. I think the Packers are gonna keep rolling. Of course, they'll probably be number 2 or number 3. Lions probably be number 2, number 1 if we're not number 1. As for the Bears, probably 3 or 4.
Yeah, and the funny thing of it is the Bears are in last place with what is it, a 4-2 or 5-2 record right now?
4-2 because they're on bye last week.
Oh, they were
Yeah.
on bye. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So let's talk a little bit about the backfield right now. So this is a little unpopular opinion, and boy, did we ever hear it from all the opposing fans after these last 2 games about our corners with, and Darren's already mentioned Byron Murphy. And yes, Byron Murphy's made some plays. He's also gotten cooked a lot. It
Yeah.
is what it is. Specifically these last 2 games, our pass rush was not getting there. And then specifically on Thursday night, I don't care if you're going to give Matthew Stafford that kind of time. You could have Sauce Gardner, Winfield Jr. and bring back Deion Sanders in his prime and stick them back there. If that guy's got 10 seconds to sit there and let plays develop, there is not a cover corner out there anywhere that's going to lock a dude down for that long. People are going to get open. A good quarterback like Stafford will pick that shit apart all day long. What do you guys put it more on? Our lack of successful pass rush pressures getting there on Thursday night, or do you just really think our corners all shit the bed?
Well, speaking specifically to the first half, they were highlighting during the game how quick Stafford was getting rid of the ball. He was getting rid of it like 1.82 seconds flat. So our pressure didn't have enough time to really get there. He was just been slinging it because they were getting it short in the middle of the field to Nakua and Cup, and they were just dicing us. And our corners just could not wrap up. Stephon Gilmore, as good as he's been this year, he is older and he can't keep up with these younger, more athletic receivers. So
Yeah.
I don't solely put it on our pass rush because Stafford was just diming that ball immediately, and our corners just couldn't stick to him. I don't know if it's Flores having him play too soft off coverage or if they just weren't wrapping up, but I'm actually not going to put it on our edge, at least in the first half.
I agree. Yeah, it looked like the issue being is our corners seem to be about a step slow.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need an upgrade at corner if we're planning on making a run, definitely.
Yeah, I think the fact that we didn't get a sack on Stafford at all in that game, I don't really blame the D line, but you could have gotten him a few times here and there. But
There were some
Yeah.
close
yeah,
ones.
the secondary needs a little bit of an upgrade. I think if we get J.C. Horn from the Carolina Panthers, we'll be good. The loss of Mekhi Blackman before the season even started was terrible, and I miss him. I hope he comes back next season, good and ready. But yeah, Gilmore's good when he can lock up a receiver. Griffin's okay, I guess. Murphy kind of sucks, but he got an interception on Stafford, which was good. Bynum has gotten a few interceptions. Harrison Smith sacked Rodgers in that London game, and he got an interception in the first game of the season against the Giants. Metellus is good at tackling, and he can get interceptions as well. But yeah, I think we need a little bit of an upgrade on the secondary as far as cornerbacks go. But yeah,
So one thing, our backfield did look very slow. Again, we were coming off, very minimal rest. But again, that's no excuse. We need to be playing at 110% at all times, no matter the length of the rest, whether it be 1 day, 7 days, whatever. We need to be at our best. And then one thing I wanted to point out that you brought up, Rob, from a past topic, this officiating crew that missed the face masking call was the same officiating crew that no called that pass interference and the KC Atlanta game earlier this season.
Yeah, there's been some issues. So what I want to do right now is we're going to take our halfway point commercial break here real quick. We're going to play a commercial for you all. And when we get back, we're going to discuss just that, the sloppy penalties, because that's one thing we haven't discussed yet is how the penalties killed us. So we'll be right back in about a minute and a half. Stay with us, guys.
Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
All right, we're back. So here's an interesting stat for you. We've been on the defense's ass pretty hard on the lack of pressures and everything else. Here's the deal. Because of penalties, the Rams got 6 free first downs, 6 drive extenders, and it's amazing. 5 of those was on a third down situation. There's one of them where whatever the penalty was an automatic first down. 5 of them 6 was on a third down where they would have punted if we hadn't had a penalty. And granted, some of it was some bullshit. Some of it was legitimate. And then you go to the other side of the ball. I counted at least, and I don't have the stats looked up on this, but at least 4 drives that ended up in a punt because of some dumb procedural. In fact, Jordan Addison actually had one. And if I remember correctly, that drive where they called him because he was lined up too far north of the line of scrimmage, basically, I believe that drive also ended in a punt. We did not do ourselves any favors. Had we not been so sloppy in that aspect, we might have still been able to squeak out a W after playing a real shitty game, because to start the game off, I mean, we were moving the ball. Yeah, they were too. I mean, it was 14-14 before anybody knew it, at the beginning of the game. And then here came the flag fest and the shit show and everything else. We couldn't get out of our own way. I think we were our own worst enemy when it came to penalties. And when you play sloppy like that, that absolutely can be a huge determining factor. When you guys kept on seeing flag after flag, and then when you seen the replay, yes, there were some bullshit ones, but there's a lot of them. It's like, come the fuck on, man. What was your reaction, Matthew Lasturi? What do you think just watching that? You had to be getting just as frustrated as me seeing that just undisciplined crap.
Yeah, so we used to talk on this. We'd have the segment of like, at what point in the game did you feel like you were safe, or vice versa? Once those flags started flying, every time it was a third down, and like that one they called on Gilmore, that was allegedly pass interference, where he barely touched the dude's jersey. It's like we're just not going to get the calls this game. The defense gets gassed at that point, and then like you said on offense, anytime we'd have a nice play on first down, offensive opponent, guess what? It's 1st and 20. It's like, okay, great. Now we have to work that much harder to even make a solid drive. I just felt like the calls were against us the whole night. And like we talked, or had Matt mentioned, they were the Chiefs Falcons crew. They were the same crew in the 2022 Colts game where they took back 2 defensive touchdowns from us. So when that happens, you have to play above and beyond, and we just didn't have above and beyond in us, and it sucked.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, I've never seen us, or I've never sat there so many times in one game. Yep, stop them. They're going to punt. Nope. We got a penalty. They're getting a first down. Fuck.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's just like I said, there was 5 times of that at least. And then there was a couple there's a couple personal fouls that just gave the Rams an automatic first down. I don't remember the yardage and down to go situations on it, but you cannot go out and play like that. I get it. It's a short week. You played Sunday night football. Now you're jumping right into Thursday night football. It's the shortest possible amount of span that you have between games that there is. Unless you went from a Sunday night football game or a Monday night football game, which they would never do.
Right.
They'll never take a Monday night team and put them on Thursday night. They won't do it. But if you went from Sunday night and maybe London on Thursday morning or whatever, that might be the only other worst scenario. And I don't think they do that to you either.
Yeah.
So this is the shortest amount of gap that you have, right? And I get it. I'll give them a little bit of grace, but who do you put that more on, the players or the coaches? Because when you have that many penalties, that's just lack of discipline or lack of effort. It's one of the two. Do you put that on the players because it was all of them, or do you put that on the coaches because it was all of them? What do you think? Anybody?
I think a lot of it is just procedural stuff. So that does fall on the players, like the legal formation, which they have been enforcing heavily this season. Some people just slightly out of place. That's mental right there. That's on the players, and then a lot of it, discipline falls on coaching as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Chastity, what do you think on that? Do you think that if you had to assign a percentage of accountability between the 53 people and then Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, let's just put both of them in there, what percentage of accountability are you assigning to those 2 coaches versus the players on that lack of discipline Thursday night?
It's a 50-50. Win as a team, lose as a team.
Anybody have a difference of opinion on that? Darren?
The penalties need to be cleaned up. Less penalties, more 3 and outs or whatever on defense, and then less holding calls or whatever on offense. And yeah, it needs to be cleaned up. It's on the players. It's also on the coaching. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Matthew. 50-50. Players need to do their part, but at the same time, the coaches need to be able to discipline these guys and do their job as well.
Yeah, I'll say 70-30 players to coach. The coach can tell the players to do it however many times they want to, but the players have to be the ones to execute. And I think because they were tired after only having 3.5 days, maybe they had to resort to holding and being a little more physical than they normally would to make up for their lack of energy. I don't know. And that could have led to being sloppy. The only one that I'll truly put on the coaching was having Dallas Turner as the 12th man on the field. You got to be able to tell your players to sub out and get off the field so that doesn't happen. But the rest of it, I mean, you can't stop Stephon Gilmore from grabbing unless you go the Xavier Rhodes route and make him practice in oven mitts. So I'll put a little more on the players. I think they just resorted to being a little more hands than normal to make up for their lack of just being able to be physical.
Yep. And I know personally, you're sitting here, you take 2 losses within a 7-day window, and it's like, fuck, it's in our division, the best division in football. It's like, so what are you doing? So then you look ahead and you're like, well, maybe the other teams will struggle a little bit. Well, guess what? The Packers are playing freaking Jaguars. I didn't even want to know how bad that's going to be a butt whooping, and of course the Lions are playing the Titans, and then you got the Bears going to Washington. That's a possibility there because
But Daniels isn't playing.
That's the only possibility is that Bears game.
Yeah.
Well, Mariota's starting, so even then they're playing a tough Commanders team, but they're playing without the Rookie of the Year. So
yeah, that's true. That is true. So, speaking of which, we're going to go around the NFC North a little bit here and everything. These Bears fans they're pretty happy with Caleb Williams. I haven't figured out why yet. He's not Jaden Daniels.
No.
If Jaden Daniels was playing versus Caleb Williams, I probably pick the Commanders, although I do think the Bears have a better all-around roster, especially on the defense. But the Commanders have actually been quite a surprise. Who would you guys, as it sits right now with Marcus Mariota? By the way, did you guys watch so this year they had receivers? Is that Netflix special? Last year they had quarterbacks, and he was one of them. Did you guys watch any of that?
Yeah, I watched quarterbacks, but not receivers.
Okay, Justin Jefferson.
I watched receivers. Yeah, that's good.
This year, and then Kirk Cousins was last year on quarterbacks when he still played for us and everything. But so I don't dislike Marcus Mariota at all as a person, and I still think he could be a serviceable quarterback on the right team as the Commanders. I guess we're going to find out. But who are you guys picking and why? Let's just start off with that Bears and Commanders game because that's really the most interesting. I don't even think I need to ask about the Lions or Packers game. Yeah. Let's talk about the Bears game. Who are you picking on this?
I'm going to pick the Commanders, even though the Bears could win this game. I just think that Mariota is going to be good enough to beat the Bears. It just depends. It also all depends on how good the Commanders defense does against the Bears offense. But yeah, I got the Commanders in a close game at least.
Okay. Anybody? Let's just go around the horn. Any order, I don't care.
Yeah, I'll take the Bears, especially if Mariota's playing. Like, he's fine and all. He's got mobility, but he's just not Jaden Daniels. As someone that relies on Scary Terry for fantasy football, his production immediately dropped off when Mariota got in the game. Washington doesn't have the greatest run game. Chicago's defense is absolutely a beast of a unit this year. Caleb Williams is starting to figure it out. So I think the Bears put him away.
I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think their defense finds a way to limit the Bears. And I see the game Commanders winning 35-23.
As much as I want to say Commanders, I think I'm going to have to go with the Bears. Daniels being out, and like Matthew alluded to, the weak run game. It's going to be a matchup of the Commanders' defense against the Bears' offense, and Caleb has really been started to roll and show what he can do.
I'm going to be going with the Commandos just because Mariota has been very good in the past, and I think they're going to game plan for him. That the Commanders' defense has been absolutely phenomenal, and we're talking about a Commanders team pretty much dominating a pretty shitty NFC East. It almost, I hate to say it, but they're going to win their division soundly just because of the fact that it's a shit show out there. No, there is no doubt about it. The NFC East is struggling. They used to be a pretty damn good Division, not anymore.
You don't see Philly turning things around mid-season or trying to make a run for it?
When Jaden Daniels comes back, he's gonna win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I really do think that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this could be a trap game for the Bears though, because Washington is at home and Mariota could be a wild card and he could present a different game that they aren't exactly ready to defend. He could have himself a ball game.
Could
I
also
t-
could
Go
also
ahead.
be a trap game for the Packers and Lions too as well.
Yeah, I tend to whereas, you know, I would want the Commanders to win just so that we don't like plummet from like first to last in our division, basically. I mean, and I'm not sure that we would. I think we'd end up in like in third, more or less. Yeah, and actually, no, we'd probably be last. I'd have to look at how that whole thing figures out, because we're 1-1 in our division. I the Bears defense is for real. They really are, and not that the Commanders isn't. It's like which quarterback is going to fuck up worse, the rookie Caleb Williams, who has been, and like, you know, Mike says in the comments, Williams is definitely showing improvement. It started ugly, correct? That is correct. You know, which quarterback's going to fuck up worse, the journeyman Marcus Mariota or the rookie Caleb Williams that was the number 1 overall pick in the draft? Because I think the defenses are going to be tough on both sides of the ball. I'm going to say, just because it's a home game and I haven't checked Vegas odds, I'm going to take the Commanders by 3, and I have no idea how much, but I bet you it's a low scoring game. But yeah, let's talk about the Packers game and the Lions game, Darren, because trap games. A lot of people said this Rams game was a trap game for us. Well, I just think we just played like shit. What do you see? The Packers have been known to overlook teams before, and here you've got the hapless Jacksonville Jaguars sitting there. The one thing in the back of my head is it was a couple weeks ago. The receivers for Lawrence, as much as Lawrence has been inaccurate, his receivers dropped 4 touchdowns. Okay.
Yep.
So they've been having that kind of a year. Do you think that if they got that nothing to lose mentality or whatever, and their guys actually catch the ball or whatever, how are you seeing this work as a trap game here?
So my thing is, so this works as a trap game, is not only are those wide receivers actually showing up this week and actually working on those fundamentals that they were working on in practice prior to the game, but I also see their running game being explosive on the Packers, because if you look at that Texans game, Joe Mixon had over 100 yards on the ground against Green Bay. Green Bay talks about they got this elite rush defense. The only thing I see going their way is that secondary. I'm not gonna, give Xavier McKinney his flowers, because that dude's a damn good safety, and having Jair Alexander back there helps as well. But I think their biggest weakness is that rush defense.
Well, if the Jags defense could be opportunistic, Jordan Love is tied with Mahomes for interceptions this season with 8, and he's missed 2 games. So if the Jags can force him to turn the ball over 2 or 3 times and Trevor Lawrence can actually connect with some of those touchdowns, that could possibly happen. I like what you said about the run game, though. Etienne could have a very big game against that Packers D line, and just at least try to run that clock out and keep that game close. So just try to pick Jordan Love off 2 times like he's been prone to do this season and see what you can do.
Yeah, don't underestimate that Jaguars defense either. They may get their general back with Alokun, and they've been missing him, and he's a great piece that really drives this defense. Although in his speed, Ventrell Miller he's played very well as well.
So, looking at the betting odds for the Bears-Commanders game, the Bears, courtesy of BetMGM, are the favorite at -3 for the spread, and at the money line, the Bears are the favorite -160, and the Commanders at +135.
Is it in Chicago or is it in Washington?
Washington.
Washington.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, I could see the Lions game being more of the trap game between the Packers game and the Lions game because the Titans have a sneaky good defense, and Mason Rudolph played well last week in place of Will Levis. That's obviously wishful thinking because we need Detroit to lose, but I don't know if it's a road game against the Titans against the sneaky good defense. But at the same time, if Detroit loses to them, that doesn't make me feel super comfortable playing them in 2 weeks. So we'll see.
Yeah, I could see the Titans making it a game against the Lions. I don't think they'll win, but they'll make it a game at least. And as far as the Packers-Jaguars game, I think the Packers win. It'll be a close game against the Jaguars because Jaguars might bring it. They have a decent offense and they have a decent defense. But yeah, I see the Packers and Lions winning close games, if anything. But yeah.
Well, before we start getting into any final thoughts, one of the things we're doing on this show is just for fun. Here, 2 weeks ago, we launched this little contest, and I did it on my Sir Rocker VWO page, and I said, comment who you think the last undefeated team will be, because it was between the Vikings and the Chiefs and everything. Well, we know that the Vikings lost before the Chiefs did, because the Chiefs haven't, right? So here are the people that are going to be in the drawing, which we're going to do middle of the week, or actually we're going to do it next Saturday while I am up in Minneapolis. But here's the people that will be entered for a jersey, a free jersey of your choice. Any team, any name, any number. The people that are eligible and they're going to be put into the drawing for that. I'm looking at it right now. We have Chris Van Beek, Troy Lake, Robert Harwell. This is a lot of people picked the Vikings, of course, because I'm a Viking. Naturally,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Sir Rocky Top Jonathan Newman's picked both of them, so we'll throw him in there. Joshua, Brendan Charlemagne, Troy Martin, Brian Foss, Eddie Hogger, Troy Martin, Joseph Christensen, Blair Daggett, Michael Cooler, Brad Jorgensen, Megan Boson, Diggs Garza, Don Fritz III, and that's it. So those people next week, we'll just say we're going to do it on our Saturday show next week. I'm going to get one of those things where it's the wheel that spins and everything and selects the winner, and we will do that live on the show next week. But the people that I mentioned that picked the Chiefs off of my page, you are now officially in the running to get a free jersey. So thanks for everybody that participated in that, and we will draw a winner next week. So kind of
I want to address a comment. Joseph, if you're burning sushi, Gordon Ramsay would like to have a word with you.
That is pretty nice. So I don't eat sushi. It's, I mean, I can think of better ways to basically sit on the throne for 3 hours shitting. Now hibachi, I will give me hibachi or give me some pho. Pho is one of my most favorite foods ever.
Indian street food.
Wonderful. It's
Yes.
Bring a family to.
I love hibachi.
Oh God, yes. In fact, that might be a good idea for tonight. But,
how about some Indian street food?
Yep.
Yeah. So, we
I don't want to die.
We do have a long week. We will have another show prior to the Colts game, but any final thoughts from anybody before we wrap this up on what direction we want to go with? Anybody have any other comments on the whole situation with replacing Darisaw with getting regrouped, refocused, and re-energized, ready to hit this next stretch of games here, because we are also going to be hitting the lesser teams. You know, we got the Colts coming up. We've got the Titans, that kind of stuff coming up. Whatever, just like the Packers and Lions are, we'll be getting to those teams too. We need to get our shit together. So I want to go around the horn and give everybody a chance to say, if you were KOC, this is my message to the team. What would that be? And let's start with Darren.
If I'm KOC, I need to get all the players together, and I need to say that we're going in this as a team. We need to have a team mentality. Everybody needs to be on their P's and Q's. Everybody needs to be doing their job. Like, there shouldn't be any slacking off. Like, you guys practice this every day in practice. Like, we need to get it together. I know injuries suck, but there's still a lot of football left, and this team could be a playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were KOC, I'd go to the locker room and talk to all the players and say, "Hey, we gotta keep on rolling and get more wins to make the playoffs and possibly win a division." We got a pretty weak schedule as far as the Colts and Jaguars, Titans go. We do play the Bears, I think, after the Titans. I'm not sure. I have to check the schedule again, but I do believe we play the Bears next month.
Twice in December.
Well, we played the Bears here in December.
Oh, that's right.
But I think we played them in November as well. But yeah,
November 24 is the Bears. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we bounced back and we beat the Colts on Sunday Night Football. And then we go to Jacksonville to beat them. Go to Tennessee, beat them. And whoever we play next after the Titans, we beat them too. And then we keep rolling from there. If we make any trades, probably for a defensive tackle or a cornerback. As far as the Darisaw situation goes, start Walter Rouse over Questenberry. Yeah, Questenberry is decent, but Walter Rouse just needs a fresh. He needs to get a start. Probably against the Colts. We'll see if KOC goes that route. But yeah, and we just gotta bounce back and get a win against the Colts on Sunday night.
So if I'm KOC, I'm shedding my coach whistle for one night and calling a team dinner. Not a meeting, just a dinner where we can sit down, refocus as a family, give a motivational speech, and give them a little bit of incentive to not only win the rest of our games, but to do so in a very dominating fashion. Let's refocus. Let's come together as a family.
Okay, we got about a minute left. Anybody else?
What I'm telling my guys is they've performed above expectations. No one expected them to be where they're at now. They're playing very well. Don't let this past week get them down. They played a hard-fought game against possibly the best team in the conference, arguably against us, and we hung right with them. We were there down to the wire. Whoever had the ball last won that game, and it was just unfortunate. We had all the makings of a trap game going into LA with crossing 2 time zones on a short week and playing a team that's getting 2 of their studs back, so they're real fired up at home. We should be very proud of ourselves at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say do the cliche. This is where the playoffs start. Every game is 0-0. Just take it game by game. You can't focus on the big picture right now because it'll just kind of overtake you. Just focus on one game at a time. And yeah, see if you can rattle off a few in a row.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys back here next Saturday. We'll talk about the Colts game that'll be coming up the next day. I will actually be up there, so I probably will not be on here, but Darren and Matthew will be kind of running the show. And topics will be what are we doing with our first round draft pick, Dallas Turner, and what do we need to do to get ready to come back and get the W. So thanks for joining us. Skol, everyone.
Oh.
The Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails.